It is the Sophie Martin Show on NEWHD here with one of the greatest singers of all time, Olle Owens. So, what was life like growing up in Canada?
Life growing up in Canada. I grew up in a small prairie farming town in central Canada. The summers were really hot and the winters were really cold. Yeah, I have many memories of spending a lot of time outside. My family was, we would go fishing in summer, and I remember having, the fresh fried fish after we'd have a day of fishing. And then in wintertime, we had an ice rink very close to our place. And so we would go skating almost every evening in winter. We go ice skating and we did sledding. And then we had snowmobile and we would go snowmobiling as well. So yeah, so it was, there was a lot of wonderful memories outdoors with my siblings. And yeah, that's kind of what I remember most about growing up.
What inspired you to become a songwriter?
Um, so my dad played in a band when I was younger, and I think initially he kind of got me going. I wanted to learn to play guitar like him. And there growing up there were some challenges in my life, and I found that as I learned to play guitar, I would start making up songs, and I found that songwriting actually really became a place where I could kind of process my thoughts and feelings, and it was a very interesting and good thing for me to kind of start at. So I was probably around 11 or 12 when I started songwriting, back in the day. So. Yeah, and I still have that notebook. I tucked it away in my little treasure box. I've still got the little notebook that I started when I was that age. So, yeah.
Are there any instruments that you've always wanted to play?
I love that question. My grandma always had a banjo when I was younger, and I remember looking at it when I was younger, going, "Wow, I would love to learn to play that thing." But I knew it was a little complex, and because I had kind of that history with my dad playing guitar, I ended up picking a guitar up first, and right around that age, 11, 12. And so I learned guitar instead. I still kind of wish I could have played banjo, and I might pick it up one day. We'll see.
Tell us the story behind your song Every Step of the Way. What's it about and how did you come up with it?
Well, as you know, Sophie, this past year has been crazy and then brought a lot of unexpected changes, to our lives. Um, and for me, it really, as a musician and a performer, it really felt like the bottom kind of dropped out, because we couldn't go out, we couldn't perform. Um, and I think, as the months dragged on and there was not very much physical contact with other people, I just really started to have a desire to write something hopeful and kind of like a hopeful anthem about connection and how important our connections are. And so, you know, i- initially just that chorus came to me, when the bottom falls out from beneath you, I'm going to be with you, every step of the way. And then I had an opportunity, middle of the year last year, to co-write with a co-writer down in Nashville named Ron Hemby. And so I had this song, I had the chorus, but I was kind of having trouble with the verses. I was like, oh, I want it to be meaningful. And anyway, so we got together, we did a co-write together. And, as we talked a little bit more about it, the verses began to take shape. And then the song itself, you know, came to be. And yeah, it's, I guess just the biggest thing for me is just I really wanted to honor the friendships that we have and how important those friendships are, even though we're only, for a long time, we're only able to connect here, um, uh, on Zoom or FaceTime or all these things. But I don't know about you, but my friends were really important to me this last year, and those people in my life that I've been connected to. And sometimes, I'd have a really crazy, not so good day, and I'd get a phone call, and it, from a good friend, and their voice on the other end of the line just kind of help me remember that it's going to be okay. And that's really what Every Step of the Way is about. I wanted to be a song that, we can share with each other. We can send it to a friend, and say, hey, I'm here for you. Don't forget, and that's really, yeah, really, really what Every Step of the Way is all about.
Who have been some of your favorite people to meet and work with?
Well, I'm based up here in Canada, and I've been really fortunate to work with some excellent people up here on previous projects. And we've got amazing musicians up here in Alberta, and yeah, that's been a real honor. Currently, I'm working on a new project, and I'm working actually with a Nashville-based producer named Bobby Blazier. And Bobby's been doing this for over 30 years. I'm really excited. He produced every step of the way. And I'm really excited about the stuff we're working on now. I am working on a new project, and Bobby's going to be producing that. So super excited to be working with him. His musicians, they've toured with people like Keith Urban and Kenny Loggins and um, oh my gosh, Chicago and all these different people. So I'm super excited about, working together with them. Of course, me being in Canada, them being down there, it's remote. A lot of it's this, um, but so grateful to be working with them. So yeah.
Are you looking forward to performing live and going on concert tours when it's safe to do so?
Yes, 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 I am. I I really miss it a lot. Just, I've done some online things. And it's good. It's good to know that there's somebody else on the other end listening, but there's nothing like being in person with people. For me, that's why I do what I do, you know, um, the live in-person audience and, being able to be in the same room together is really meaningful for me because connection is so important to me. But I mean, that being said, I'm thankful we can do online things, but I really can't wait to start touring and doing music live and in person.
What's up next for your career and how did the pandemic affect everything?
Well, like I said earlier, the pandemic really did kind of shut things down initially and kind of brought me to a place of reevaluating kind of my art and my music and what was going to be next. And so right now I am currently working on a new project, a new full length album. I'm hoping to release. Maybe end of this year, beginning of next year, depending on how things go. But I'm excited about that, about sharing the songs, that have come to me over this time, over this pause. And then I'm sharing, yeah, just sharing the music again in this, to create something, because that's what I can do right now. Up here in Canada, things are still pretty restricted, so we still can't perform live. I know it's opening up down there. Um, but up here, we still can't perform. There's live venues are not open. Um, but I'm also hoping to spend the summer doing outdoor events because we are allowed to do outdoor events up here. So I'm booking private kind of concerts, backyard concerts, curbside concerts, that kind of thing. So hoping to keep busy over the summer and then release that album as soon as it's ready.
Who were your influences growing up?
I grew up listening to a lot of gospel, old country, southern rock, kind of classic rock music, Johnny Cash, CCR, and then in my teens, I discovered the Delta blues. And I just, I loved it. The Delta blues were just amazing. And then also the amazing voices of like Mahalia Jackson and Etta James and Mavis Staples and all those wonderful, wonderful women. And I remember, especially with blues and the gospel, just the vocal intensity with which they just give themselves to the music really resonated with me. And yeah, they were certainly, um, you know, have influenced me in terms of my own art and my own songwriting and singing. So yeah.
Do you have a favorite genre of music that you like to listen to?
Ooh, that's a hard one. I really like listening to a lot of different kinds of music. But when it comes down to it, I was thinking about this. Uh, I mostly find myself going back to like again the gospel singers like Mavis and Mahalia. I love Tom Petty; he's one of my favorites. I love the band. The band is also I'm a huge band fan. I love the Eagles, Fleetwood Mac, Blue Rodeo, CCR, Allman Brothers. There's an Americana duo, husband wife duo called Buddy and Julie Miller. I love those guys. Eric Clapton, of course, 'cause, he's got kind of that bluesy sound. Um, so I guess, if we put that all together, kind of be like Southern rock, blues, and gospel, I guess is kind of, with a hint of country, is kind of where I probably settle. Yeah, it's hard to pick because I love music. So depends on the day.
And before we wrap up our show, we have one extra special bonus question just for you. So, do you like to travel? And if so, what's your favorite place to visit in the world?
I do love traveling. Growing up, I didn't grow up traveling. Our family didn't travel really anywhere other than maybe within a couple of hours of our own house. But when I got married and had our own family, we've done a lot of traveling. So I would say there's two kind of my two favorite things traveling over the last number of years would be road tripping with our kids. We would just get in the car and we kind of pick a direction and just go, and we would stay wherever we wanted. It was a bit of an adventure because it wasn't really planned, but we'd always have these really cool experiences together as a family. So that to me holds a lot of special memories. And then also about 6 years ago, we went to Australia to visit my brother-in-law who lives there. And I actually had a dream of going to Australia when I was a little girl. Like I used to just dream about one day I want to go to Australia. And so when my brother-in-law and his wife moved there, we thought, oh, maybe we'll get to go there. And then we did, and it was an amazing experience. They live in Queensland, so it was obviously the weather was incredibly beautiful. And then we even took a couple of days and we spent about 4 days on Fraser Island, which is a kind of a national historic site there. It's like an all sand island, and you can only get on there with 4x4 vehicles. So we kind of explored, and it was just an incredible experience. And I'm so thankful we had an opportunity to do that with our family. That my own family could experience it as well. So I would love to go back in a heartbeat one day to Australia. I loved it. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Ollie, for coming on my show and being a special guest. It was a really great time, and I really hope that the both of us would do another interview soon. It was awesome.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for having me.